Hate, anger, and loneliness. Some of what we are learning about the gunman from his writings. We're now joined by Jonathan Gilliam in New York City. He's a former FBI special agent and police officer who's got experience in special crisis management. Jonathan, welcome.
Thank you very much.
I want to begin with the suspect's writings. According to law enforcement, he left a hate-filled note. He said he felt the world was against him, said he had no life. This is clearly a troubled young man, and yet, once again, the warning signs were missed.
You know, I think you just hit on something that I think really should be the center of all this again and again. We hear, whether it be political rhetoric, which we just heard from the governor of Oregon, or we just hear policies that aren't effective. And I think what you're hitting on here is that most of these people that commit either these types of mass shootings or ones that are motivated by extremists, ideologies, they have this in common. People identify them before they do this. They say that person was odd, or they had multiple run-ins with law enforcement. And I think we need to start developing a better matrix of how we categorize these people when law enforcement interacts with them, so that we can start developing pictures of people who may have these issues that live in society. I mean, this guy, multiple people have said that he was odd, that he carried around gun boxes. He was forced to leave the military for whatever reason. These are things that law enforcement and authorities should be able to put together and start to have somewhat of a picture so they can interact with these people before this happens.
But Jonathan, obviously law enforcement, they're experts. They can recognize those things. But someone like myself, how do I recognize someone as a little odd or skittish, or maybe I get a bad vibe, and then recognize a potential killer or someone with serious mental illness? I'm not an expert. I don't know.
Right. You know, you are an expert in the community in which you live. You don't have to be a psychologist to know when somebody is acting extremely odd. And, law enforcement, by and large, they normally do interact with these people because of somebody just like yourself makes a complaint. Either they're threatened or they see something odd. But law enforcement, because of the way they're afraid to be sued, or just because policies don't exist, when they interact with these people, they just tell them to go away, and they don't categorize or catalog this behavior, so they can go back and say, well, yeah, we've had several things like this, and then approach an attorney, a judge, and say, can we get a warrant based on probable cause to go and look at this, or a reasonable suspicion that this person may be a threat. I think that may be where we need to start heading.
And he also was after notoriety. He wanted to be famous. It did not matter to him that he was going to kill people and he was going to get killed in the process. And I want to read a quote from one of his writings where he mentions another gunman, the one in the shooting of two young journalists in Virginia. And part of that quote says, "A man who was known by no one is now known by everyone. His face splashed across every screen, his name across the lips of every person on the planet, all in the course of the day. Seems the more people you kill, the more you're in the limelight." That is chilling to me.
That is very chilling. And again, you see visions of grandeur in this person. And this is another thing that's repeated in a lot of these individuals, whether it be an extremist or whether it be somebody who has mental issues. And listen, I'm a gun rights believer. I think that people should be able to carry guns. It's in our Constitution. And I think that these gun-free zones, when people are allowed to go in there that are up to no good and other people can't defend themselves, that plus the fact that we just don't look at these signs and symptoms when they're known, I think these are issues that we have to look at, because we need to start looking at effective solutions. Politics have ruined all of this, where we don't look at any of it.
And Jonathan, I really don't want to get into the political side of the gun debate.
Sure.
I understand your position, I respect it, but I really want to get more in the psyche of this killer, of what was going through his mind. And also, he apparently asked victims about their religion. What does that tell you about a possible motive?
Well, I think, anytime you have somebody who has mental issues and they're looking for, first off, I think that could actually be something that he did just to get more of the limelight. I mean, if that's the case with this letter, that almost seems like that could be a particular reason why he did that. But there could be more to this guy's background than they've discovered already. Again, investigations they have to come full scope before we can know the whole picture. And I would assume that it's going to be one of those two things. Either he had some kind of odd ideological belief, or he just did that just to get more notoriety.
And Jonathan, the local sheriff has asked media organizations not to use the shooter's name. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a good idea because, again, the more we react in certain ways, the more we're going to be able to determine who these individuals are and give them less of a reason to go out and for other people to go out and do this. It's not the notoriety that they're looking for. And if they have hate in their heart, they need to go see somebody or go to a friend and say, I have these issues. Can you help me out? But notoriety, I think the more we give these individuals, it's actually, kind of prophetic that he put that in that letter because they do get limelight because of it.
All right, Jonathan Gilliam, thank you so much for your time, sir.